Is your AI built to work with your business's data? IBM helps you integrate and govern unstructured data wherever it lives, so your business can have more accurate AI instead of just more of it. Get your data ready for AI at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
Oh, hey.
Hey, thanks for meeting me here on such short notice. This place isn't bugged, is it?
Bugged? Wait, Jamie, what's going on?
Oh, it's just, you're my only lawyer friend, and I need your professional opinion. Do you see that brand new Hyundai Tucson out there?
Yeah?
That's all I paid for it.
I think I need to get back to you on that.
Do you know what you want?
Yeah, I do now.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. Get the car or SUV you've always wanted, plus America's best warranty at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. The guilt is real, but so is the savings.
Listen, I don't want to get in your business, but if that's all she paid for it, I'll have what she's having.
It's a great day for a new Hyundai at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event going on now. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on all Hyundai Palisade, Santa Fe, and Santa Fe hybrid models. And check out our other great deals at your Hyundai dealer today. Offer ends September 2nd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Now, recently I've covered SEC football, college football. But in this episode, I'm going to pivot to the NFL. And I've got a great show for you. Now, listen, when I was a freshman in college, my friend Catherine Leitner invited me to visit her in Lockport, New York. And I will never forget that trip. There was a blizzard, but somehow people in Buffalo went about their lives as if nothing unusual was happening. That was my first introduction to the toughness of Buffalo. It's a great city, great music, Chippewa for bars, Mighty Taco, and Boysenberry soda. I even went to a Bills game, and I can honestly say I have never been more cold in my entire life. Catherine's dad, Mark, who was the NPR correspondent in Buffalo, kept reminding us that this was not the time for fashion. He encouraged us to shove warmers into our socks, gloves, and even our pants. And the crowd was wild. I saw more than one man dressed up as a priest, guzzling beer and giving the finger. And the tailgating, it was like gourmet food in a frozen tundra. And that's the thing about Buffalo. Football there isn't just a sport, it's a way of life, which is why the season of Hard Knocks feels like the perfect fit. For nearly 2 decades, Hard Knocks has been one of the most acclaimed sports documentary series, giving fans an all-access pass to NFL training camp. The locker rooms, the practices, the human stories. Produced by NFL Films and HBO, it's where legends are humanized, rookies become household names, and the entire fan bases get to peek inside the heart of their team. This year, the spotlight is on the Buffalo Bills, a franchise with one of the most passionate fan bases in sports, a history of heartbreak and resilience, and a roster filled with both stars and underdogs. What makes this season especially powerful are the emotional storylines. James Cook's contract battle, the quarterback room tension with Mitchell Trubisky and Mike White, breakout personalities like Dion Dawkins, and determined longshots like Terrell Shavers. At the center of it all is Damar Hamlin, whose story transcends football. In January of 2023, during a Monday Night Football game, he suffered a sudden cardiac arrest on the field, an unforgettable moment watched in real time by millions. The outpouring of support that followed united not only Buffalo and Cincinnati, but football fans everywhere. His journey back through rehabilitation, fear, resilience, and finally his return to the game is captured in the season with remarkable intimacy. Today, I'm joined by Pat Harris and Kaley Campen from NFL Films, 2 of the creative forces behind this season of Hard Knocks. We're going to talk about how the series is made, how storylines are chosen, and why this Buffalo Bills chapter may be one of the most powerful in the show's history. Here's my interview. Okay, I am excited to talk to the 2 of you because this is quite a big thing that the Bills now have their own show. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Now, I'm telling you this as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. The Bills fans and the Bills Mafia is something for the books. Am I wrong?
No, they're next level. As a Bills fan myself, I can attest. Their passion. I think you realize, having been here for now a couple of weeks, you realize even walking around with our t-shirts on, like everyone wants to talk to us, wants to know about the Bills, wants to see how Josh is doing. Like they are fully invested all the time.
Yeah. Well, I guess the first question is, what made the Bills the right team for Hard Knocks this year? And was there something about their culture or moment in time that stood out for it?
I think having the MVP, like that's a start. I think the sustained success they've had the last couple of years certainly makes them they're playing on prime time more often than not, a lot of times in the season. So right away, that's just added intrigue by the NFL. And I think it just felt like the right time of, hey, this is a team that people are watching. They want to know about. They have the MVP. They have, they're on the cusp of trying to become a Super Bowl team. So it felt like, all right, if not now, when? I know I've been itching for it as a Bills fan for years, but it seemed like the perfect time to really say, all right, let's peer into the Buffalo Bills a little bit.
So then when you begin filming, what kind of story are you hoping to tell about Buffalo as a city and the Bills as a franchise? Because it's such a unique place and team.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say just because I'm from Green Bay, so I'm used to a small town where a football team means everything. And that is very similar here, where you can tell, like even Pat mentioned the fan base. They live and breathe Buffalo Bills. And so I think like just getting an inside look at why these fans love this team so much and the culture that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have built from ground up, it's pretty neat.
Would you also think you would note in the episodes, that big first episode, that when they went to training camp, they're going to training camp outside of the city. They're like going to a campus, they're kind of isolated. And it seems like that makes it that from the very beginning makes it different from other teams.
Yeah, no question. I think it's been a bit since it used to be kind of the norm that teams would go away and go to a college. And I think now with these facilities becoming so state of the art that a lot of teams just want to stay at home. They got all their stuff there. But I think I asked Coach McDermott, I was like, you've really gone away your entire career. And he said, no, since he started coaching at a high level, I was back with the Eagles when they used to go to Lehigh. He went to Carolina and was down in Spartanburg. So that's all he knows. And I think he very much leans into that for the culture piece. And you hear kind of in episode 3 when players spend these 3 weeks hanging out with each other and then they get home and they kind of miss hanging out with each other. So like it just builds like a camaraderie and a culture that you don't typically get, I think, when you're just at home and everybody goes to their homes and kind of has, family and kids and different things. That, as weird as it is to say, being isolated and just focusing on work, their job, just leads to more, I think, companionship.
You kind of like summer camp. But I remember years ago, I interviewed Marty Callner about the creation of the show. And there was a clause in it, he said, through the NFL where they wanted each team to be the focus. But somehow they slid under the radar. How did that happen?
Who, the Bills?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I really don't know. I think it's just kind of different with a lot of years with kind of the rule that was in place, that they wanted everybody. I think there were years that the Bills were, and whether we talked or not talked, I really don't know. Wasn't in those conversations, but I think it's just kind of each year's different, with previously with really who was available based off the rules and restrictions and who had intrigue. Because there were some years that teams would say, hey, you know what, this is a circumstance and we want to be a part of the show. So I think just each year is different. And I think when you look back, you can probably pinpoint why it landed somewhere, but you're kind of in the moment, it just kind of all unfolds differently.
So for Pat, for you being such a fan of the team already, is this basically your heaven? Like this was everything you've ever dreamed for of your life?
I'm sitting here staring out at the Bills Stadium in the press box. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It was very surreal I'm from Rochester initially. So going back to St. John Fisher was as surreal as it gets. Seeing family, friends at practice, being out on the field. It was, I didn't really believe it until I was actually there. I kind of was waiting for like something, it falls through, or we thought it was going to be the Bills and then it wasn't. So when it did finally happen, you walk in, you meet Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, who I've watched for the last, 8 years as they're putting together the team. That was definitely a surreal moment. And I think it's only gotten better as we've plugged along.
Well, honestly, does that turn the volume up on being a fan, being in such close proximity to the coaches and the players? And does it ever make it hard that you're so invested in the team just as like a lifelong fan that it's hard to kind of separate the working project versus being a fan?
I think my intentions, they can't not be like you want the team to do well. Like I want Josh Allen to have the best season ever. So I can understand sometimes when they're nervous about things or hesitant on things. But again, I got to kind of put on my director hat and, kind of ease concerns where they might have them. But no, like, I think I try to tell them from the beginning, look, my intentions is I want to showcase you guys, the team, the people, the culture for genuinely who you are. I feel like I have a good idea from a fan and all the things I've read and seen. So I think that helped as I'm kind of the middleman between the team and people back home. But I've tried to be mindful of that, from the beginning. And I think that eased a little bit of their concerns, knowing I kind of came in, and even Kaley coming in as like a coach's daughter, the football world, like we understand how this works. So I think teams a lot of times are reluctant to open up to us, but hopefully this kind of combination helps that.
You know that person in your life who just can't stand mayo? Call them traumatized. Call them closed-minded. We get it. They're stuck in their ways. But here's the thing. They just haven't tried Hellmann's flavored mayo. We're talking bold flavors that will flip even the biggest skeptics. Spicy mayo that adds the perfect kick to your burger. Garlic aioli that transforms ordinary fries into something extraordinary. Chipotle mayo that turns your basic wrap into a smoky sensation. So to all the mayo haters out there, yes, we're looking at you. It's time to eat your words. Because with mayo this flavorful, any hater is just a mayo lover waiting to be convinced. Hellmann's flavored mayo. Get ready to eat your words.
How hard is it to kill a planet? Maybe all it takes is a little drilling, some mining, and a whole lot of carbon pumped into the atmosphere. When you see what's left, it starts to look like a crime scene.
Are we really safe? Is our water safe? You destroyed our town.
And crimes like that, they don't just happen.
We call things accidents. There is no accident. This was 100% preventable.
They're the result of choices by people. Ruthless oil tycoons, corrupt politicians, even organized crime. These are the stories we need to be telling about our changing planet. Stories of scams, murders, and cover-ups that are about us and the things we're doing to either protect the Earth or destroy it. Follow Lawless Planet on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to new episodes of Lawless Planet early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Well, let's talk about the tone. This season, you've got some huge stars and you've got some underdogs. How do you balance the big name fans already know with introducing new faces?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one thing we talked a lot about is this team is very good. So you want to see those star players right off the bat, Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, Dion Dawkins, all of those guys. So it was kind of neat for us to introduce the names people already knew in that first episode, because I think that's a lot of people fans were excited to see. And then as the show went on, start to peel the layers back and tell some of the long shot stories of, different guys like KJ Hamler, who, has had a interesting past couple years, or Joe Andreessen, who Buffalo fans know his story, but a lot of America doesn't know his story. So I think finding the sweet spot of kind of that 50-50 mix, it's been different than other years, because sometimes it's all in on the, guys who are really making the roster. And I think we've been able to find a nice balance with this team.
So in the beginning, you've got the show touching on James Cook's hold-in during camp as he's fighting for an extension. What was your thought process in how to present that story, especially since the team's reaction wasn't really shown?
Yeah, I think that was a tricky one for us, just a new reality, because I think in previous Hard Knocks we've had holdouts, which that's just very a much easier story to tell. Person isn't here. Here's where they are. We really tried to show kind of the reality of that, which might seem different, but it was true in that he was everywhere. He was at meetings, off the field, working out, like all this stuff. So he's doing everything except being on the practice field. So it was a lot of just showing reality. And then it worked out that I think once he finally, they get timed out where he came back to practice and we were there. And then ultimately the contract gets done. I think it took a little bit longer, like obviously from a TV perspective, sure, you'd like the drama, and then it gets resolved, before that episode 2 airs. And it just so happened that it's not, we're documenting reality, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but that's just kind of our world. So it just timed out how it timed out. But I think at the end, you were able to see a beginning, middle, and end with that story, which I think played well. I think we called out that shot of him running into the facility after the deal was done. Like that's what you wait for. That's the moment you kind of want to get where it's like, hey, I'm sure he's stressed and nervous, but it finally all like pays off.
Well, once that was resolved, did you get a sense there was a shift in his energy or that the locker room's vibe may have changed that you wanted to highlight?
Well, I will say James Cook is a man of few words, so his demeanor's pretty...
Which also presents a different challenge if someone's not, really emotive, right?
Yes. I mean, I think the teammates all joke that he's not a huge talker, but you do see him put a smile on his face in those moments in the show. And I think what was neat at practice was once that contract was signed, the teammates were celebrating him. They were excited. The QBs are clapping when he comes out. The running back room is excited. So seeing that play out in real time, and the whole team is like, they're as happy as he is to have the deal done and have him back out there.
Oh, good. Well, okay, let's talk about Damar Hamlin. His return, obviously one of the most powerful storylines this season. What went into that decision to pair his book excerpts with footage of him?
Yeah, I think we kind of came in, that's a story that obviously everyone knows. He's a person everyone knows. So there was conversations beforehand of like, hey, what's the angle we want to take here? I think everyone knows the before, what happened in the last few years. So it was a conscious discussion of, hey, how can we tell Damar's like present day future? So that ASMR is kind of the technical stuff, or really lean into like the sound and visuals. So that was a conversation with our DP, Hannah Epstein, director here, Kobe Tyler, us. Like it was kind of a group collective to say, all right, this might be really cool if we can make it work. So that's talking with people back home in NFL Films and the audio department. So it's really a collaboration to say, hey, if we shoot it like this, if we have two cameras constantly next to each other, one shooting slow-mo, one shooting sound speed, and then we record all the audio sounds of him doing the water bottle, him, walking on the field, all this different stuff, we could kind of pair that together. And that really stemmed, we had this idea. And then once we met with him when he checked in, and that's where a lot of the book excerpt stuff came, like that kind of said, hey, I think this is going to actually work, because like he's focused on just kind of the simplifying things and just peacefulness. So this is him, he gets on the field, and I think he alluded, just talking with one of our directors, was things are quiet, and that's like his most peaceful place, because there's so much outside noise in his life now that once he's on the field, it almost simplifies for him. So long story short, it was an idea. I think we were able to talk with him and work with him and got a sense like, hey, I think this is going to work. And then it was just like a group execution to actually make it happen.
Well, when you ask Josh about that moment when he was on the field, he still gets quite upset about it. I wondered in conversations with them on and off camera, the other players, what's the sense that you get in terms of how that experience shifted them collectively as a team, but also as players, this realization of the fragility of life, the fragility of their athletic career, the potential loss of a teammate, all of those things?
I think it's one of those that when you wouldn't know that they're thinking about it, but as soon as it's teed up or brought up, you can tell that it's like it's an old wound, or it's just something that they've processed and be able to move forward with, but it's always going to be with them. Just like that is always going to be with Damar. So that was a sense we got. And it's, again, finding a tasteful way to not just say we want to rehash the past. But I think with Josh, we had so many shots and powerful images of him and just kind of what he was feeling, to let people peer in and just like remind him like, hey, this is incredible of where Damar's at. So that was just, I think he was the best person to use that as a tool to get from Damar to the rest of the team. And we didn't feel like we wanted to go too much into it and peel back all the layers, just because, again, I think we wanted to look to the forward with.
It's your man, Nick Cannon, and I'm here to bring you my new podcast, Nick Cannon at Night. I've heard y'all been needing some advice in the love department. So who better to help than yours truly? Nah, I'm serious. Every week, I'm bringing out some of my celebrity friends and the best experts in the business to answer your most intimate relationship questions. Having problems with your man? We got you. Catching feelings for your sneaky link? Let's make sure it's the real deal first. Ready to bring toys into the bedroom? Let's talk about it. Consider this a non-judgment zone to ask your questions when it comes to sex and modern dating in relationships, friendships, situationships, and everything in between. It's gonna be sexy, freaky, messy, and you know what? You'll just have to watch the show. So don't be shy. Join the conversation and head over to YouTube to watch Nick Cannon at Night or subscribe on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Want to watch episodes early and ad-free? Join Wondery Plus right now.
The competition between the quarterbacks was a thread throughout. How did you approach capturing that? Because, it's not always glamorous to be QB1, but still there's the real stakes to it. And I felt like you showed a real camaraderie. Did that dynamic surprise you? Is that something you noticed right away? And how did you go into kind of capturing that story?
I mean, I think the dynamic didn't surprise me because you can see how close that group is on the field. They have a lot of fun together. They're also in very similar stages of life. So I think especially Mitch Trubisky and Mike White, their journeys, and also they're both fathers of young kids off the field. Like they have a lot of similarities, and I think including Shane as well, where they all just, I think, respect each other and look to each other to get better. So we quickly saw how close that group was. And I think that stood out to us right away, that friendship that they have both on and off the field.
And it's a unique, I think, story for us to tell that it's not often, like we would never have in our workplace where we're like directly competing with some of our closest friends. And ultimately one might make it, one might get let go or whatever the reality is. So it's saying this isn't easy. I think how these players navigate this is very impressive, that they're trying to make each other better and competing every single day, where the ultimate result is like all three of them can't be there or probably won't be there. So it's trying to, I think, humanize this whole thing that we deal with and we're around. So this was a great QB great group to do it. I think Josh was passionate talking with him of like, look, these guys are incredible teammates, they're friends, and wanted to make sure like, yeah, we showcase the people that help get him to where he's at. That was another conversation we kind of had off camera with him.
Dion, he's really emerged as this breakout figure. He's so funny. Did you expect him to be such a central character? So, I mean, looks like he should be in Hollywood.
100%.
Yeah.
I had worked with Dion previously before we got here. I think we talked and had him circled early of he's the guy who's been here. He's protected Josh's, blind side his entire career. He's kind of that heartbeat of the team, second to Josh, of just consistency. He's the voice for the whole line, and his personality, as a lot of people have seen, jumps off the screen. So not only is he a ton of fun, but he is a veteran that I think everybody on this team looks up to. So not surprised.
And then as far as the other players, were there any that you kind of were surprised how great they were on camera? Because sometimes I feel like with all of the options that you have, it's probably hard to figure out which ones are going to stand out. Is there anybody that jumped out at you that was a surprise?
I mean, we knew KJ Hamler had a fun personality, but I mean, personally, I don't know that I didn't know that he was going to be as funny as he was kicking off this show. And I think a lot of people's favorite moments is him with the little scooter and getting his new scooter, and just personality is very fun. So I knew he'd be fun, but he's as big of a presence as anyone. So that'd be one for me, I think.
I think Trey White, like again, I kind of had worked with him before, and you just kind of don't know when a veteran who's coming off injuries, coming back to a team, just where his headspace will be at. But I think it was refreshing to see him come in with kind of this youthful energy, where you wouldn't know that he's been through an incredible amount of adversity the last, 2 to 3 years of his life. So I think that was fun to right off the bat. He came in, he's kind of like, for me, it was old Trey, like the one I'd done a few shoots with, got to know a little bit. So I think that was fun and like a pleasant surprise that he came in and was so great, and just had, again, similar to Dion, just has this energy and this smile and this vibe that just you can't help but be happy around him.
Were there any moments that cracked you up that didn't make it to air?
They did at Fisher, one of the last days, they did like a little intern, obstacle course where they have all the interns come in and some of the players are there cheering them on. So that you always see, it's one of those like halftime of a sporting event where they put on the helmet, the shoulder pad, they're trying to catch punts, like all these different things. So I think that led to some laughs of just like players appreciating just the people that almost, you realize these interns, they develop a really close relationship because they're all going through these crazy hours and heat and all this stuff. So it was cool to see the players appreciate and like cheer them on, but then that obviously led to some fun moments. You know, players are trying to punch the football out when they're running through over the bags and things like that. So that was a funny one. There was kind of like you had to be there, like a bit of a deep cut, but watching it in the moment definitely had some fun to it.
You guys are spending an enormous amount of time with these players, with the whole, with all of the staff. My last question is, what is something that you would want the Buffalo Bills fans to know? And what would you like the rest of the NFL fans, what would you like them to know about this team?
I think for me, the Bills culture it's real. It's a thing. I know it's like talked about a ton. As a Bills fan, you read about it a ton. It's something Coach McDermott instills. I've been happily surprised that knowing I came in as a fan and was hoping it was the case, but it's real. Like everyone here, I think, treats us with respect. They care about us as people. You got Coach McDermott, talking to us early in camp, like, hey, I know you guys are away from your family. Like, let us know if you need anything. If we're here, we're happy to have you. Things like that you don't always get everywhere. And I think just even players, they've all been so respectful and just treat it. It sounds weird to say, but just treat us like people. I think that's our hope, is develop relationships. Sometimes, yes, we are bugging them sometimes to, wear a wire or do this or that. But at the end of the day, we're trying to do a job. They're trying to do a job. So I think treating us like equals, and even just the staff, the way the random staff members have just developed friendships with us, struck up conversations. So that was something I was hoping was the case, and definitely has transpired with that Bills culture.
Yeah, I mean, I'd piggyback off of that. It is, we heard culture early, and exactly what Pat just said, but I think within the team too, these players love each other. It's not always like that, you have ups and downs. There's good relationships, sometimes not great ones, but with this team, you can tell these players respect each other. They love each other. They enjoy going away for 2 weeks. They enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. That you feel that you can just see how much it's a brotherhood that they all have. And I think that's been one of the coolest things for us to witness up close.
Well, this sounds like a really fun job that I bet there are quite a number of people that are unbelievably jealous of you right now. So I don't know how you did it, guys, but you landed a dream job.
Thank you.
Feel pretty lucky every day, that's for sure.
Well, is there one thing that you want us all to look forward to in the future season or future episodes?
That's a good one.
It's my list of things to come. I think we'll get to see Dion again around some cars, hopefully.
Yes.
That was a fun one in episode 1 as a fun little teaser. There's an event upcoming that hopefully we're invited to film. So I'll leave it at that. We haven't done it yet, but I think Dion around cars and seeing that side of him was pretty awesome in show 1. So it's nice we can come back to that. That's really all I can think of what's to. Again, it just kind of depends. Hopefully, this Tampa game leads to some excitement. We can get a win. I don't know.
Continued success to both of you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guests and remind you to make sure that you click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. Join the Facebook group Reality Life with KKC if you are looking for things to watch this week. Go to my list at katecasey.substack.com. And also check out my bonus podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Patreon at patreon.com/KKC. And follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at @KKCCA, TikTok, it's KKC, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at @KKC. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode.
And now, a next-level moment from AT&T Business. Say you've sent out a gigantic shipment of pillows, and they need to be there in time for International Sleep Day. You've got AT&T 5G, so you're fully confident. But the vendor isn't responding, and International Sleep Day is tomorrow. Luckily, AT&T 5G lets you deal with any issues with ease, so the pillows will get delivered and everyone can sleep soundly, especially you. AT&T 5G requires a compatible plan and device. Coverage not available everywhere. Learn more at att.com/5G network.